Mrs. Jayakala, did you receive the message about today's lecture?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware that there's a lecture today? Because nobody's joining, that's why.
Nobody joined. Yeah, I got the link, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
In that group, they shared.
They shared the link. Then let's see for 5 minutes.
Uh,
Right.
I am only joining, no others I don't know. Wait, ma'am.
Can you give the message to the others? Do you have a separate group or something? No.
Okay, ma'am. I'll
Let's see. Good afternoon, all of you. Sorry. So we shall start the 7th session under pedagogical psychology. So in the first few lessons, just as a reminder for you all, we did in the first session, we had made an introduction to educational psychology, and in the second one, we discussed about the schools of psychology, and third one, growth and development, physical and motor development of students we discussed, and then fourth one, social and emotional development. Fifth one, cognitive and language development. And last week, during the sixth lesson, we discussed about individual differences and heredity and environment. Heredity and environment, how they affect the individual differences among students. So that was the seventh one. And today we are going to discuss about creativity because it is directly connected with educational psychology, or creativity actually is a mental ability. Therefore, the topic today will be an introduction to creativity. Session number 8 also, 8 and 9 also mainly will be on creativity. So session number 7, this one will be kind of an introduction to the term creativity. Right. Although there are few, I think as you are informed about the session, we have to continue it, I think. Therefore, let's go on with it. So, creativity. What is creativity? Let's see. As an introduction or a definition, we can give about creativity is that it is the ability to generate innovative ideas, right? New things, innovative things, and manifest them from thought into reality. That's what we call creativity in general, right? To think about something in a different or a novel manner and uh, invent new forms or new, let's say, uh, equipment, right? Kind to find a solution to that problem or that effect, right? So that's what we call creativity in general. The process involves original thinking and then producing. Original thinking, right? Think in a different manner. Out of box, kind of a out of box thinking. Right now, as an example, people who have thought about things in a different manner have invented or created new things into the world, like Isaac Newton, like Einstein or Thomas Alva Edison, right? They looked at certain problems from a different angle, not from the conventional way. Out of the conventional methods or vision, they have thought about those things in a different manner. That's why they could find different idea. They could develop, grow different idea and create new things to the world. Even now, that continuously this creativity process happens, and people, uh, there are many people nowadays who think differently and find new solutions to existing situations or problems. So creativity is defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, right? It's a tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, right? Generating ideas or recognizing ideas, alternatives for certain situations, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves and others. That's the uh, meaning of creativity, or the definition we can provide for creativity. Among many other definitions, this is also a kind of a illustrious definition. So, McKenna defines, I said there are many definitions for creativity. This is one. McKinnon, he defines creativity as uh, a process extended in time and characterized by originality and realization. Right? Originality and realization. The other writers consider it useful to distinguish between creative behavior and original behavior. Right? So, right, many other writers also have uh, similar ideas like McKinnon about creativity. They say that the original behavior is that which is comparatively less frequent and uncommon in the given conditions, right? So originality is easily translated. I mean, original form um, is the normal behavior which everyone else usually showcase. But creative behavior is something different from that, right? Maybe very few, one or two among 100 people might be showcasing creative behavior, right? So, according to him, McKinnon, creativity is a process extended in time and characterized by originality and realization. And according to Dredwal, creativity is the capacity of a person to produce compositions, products, or ideas which are essentially new or novel and previously unknown to the producer. Right? So, new and novel. That's what everyone they agree upon who defines creativity. Almost all of them agree upon this thing, right? New and novel ideas. Creativity is that was previously unknown to the person, right? So all these, by incorporating all these perspectives, right, finally we can come to the conclusion that creativity as the capacity or ability of an individual to create, discover, or produce new or novel ideas or objects, right? Including the management or reshaping of what is already known to him, which proves to be a unique personal experience, right? So, the whole difference between construction and creation is exactly like a thing constructed uh, by the unique personal experience of people, right? So, this idea about creativity, right? It's something, the ability to generate new ideas, innovative ideas, which had not previously known to the people. And from that thought, from that new innovative thought, manifesting or making things uh, to overcome certain difficulties or certain situations, circumstances in a positive manner. So that is creativity. That's the simplest explanation we can give on creativity. So there are different concepts of creativity, right? Except those who we described in the previous slide, we discussed about the definition McKinnon, Redwall have given. There are many others, educationists, psychologists who have defined creativity in different manner, different ways, right? So somehow all of them agree that creativity is something has some kind of a relationship with new and innovative way of thinking and putting that thinking or ideas into reality to solve certain problems. Right. So, concept of creativity. Creativity is a general ability, right, possessed by all uh, healthy individuals, those who are normal, all individuals, those who were born into this world in normal, with normal health situations, all of them are creative, right? To some degree, to a certain degree, almost all the healthy, normal human beings, they are creative, right? All people usually think in terms of different levels of creativity. Almost all the people, right? Yes, especially when they are young, during their when they are in school or during their academic years, right? We can see they have different types of creativity that is developed to different levels, right? So to some degree, almost all the people, normal people are creative, right? A great deal of, I mean, any person can behave creatively in many ways, right? Many other ways, according to different ways, they can behave creatively. So it is not strange, right? Uh, no universally accepted definition of creativity. As I mentioned earlier, also there are thousands of definitions, different types of definitions for creativity. So accordingly, these definitions are uh, can be divided into 5 groups, mainly under 5 categories, right? So creativity as a talent. According to Carl Roger, he defined creative process as an action of the rational and novel product, right? Rational thinking, thinking in different manner, not from the ordinary way, right? Ordinary way, who almost all the people are thinking. These creative people, they think in a rational kind of difference in their thinking pattern. And then they produce new things with their rational thinking, right? Uh, uh, they think, according to Carl Rogers, creative process as an action of the rational and novel product. And Rhodes, They defined creativity as a process and as a talent found in some individuals. Right? And creativity. So the second category, which all these definitions can be put in, is creativity as a process. Right? So creativity as a talent, and the second category is creativity as a process. According to Maslow, Abraham Maslow stated that creativity is a process which is pre-conscious rather than conscious and includes elements of the checking and corrective process. So Abraham Maslow, I think you all know, must have heard about him. Uh, Hierarchy of needs. The theory was introduced by Maslow, and he says that he looks at creativity as a process, right? It's a pre-conscious process, according to him. And creativity as a novel idea. So Thurston, Stein, and Reiner, they described creativity as a novel idea, new idea. Creativity involved responses to that of novelty, statistically frequent to some extent of adoption. So it is concerned with something which is new rather than unexpected or non-traceable. So uh, creativity as a new thinking. According to Getzel, he says the that creativity consisted of two important components. They are convergent thinking and divergent thinking. Right. So divergent thinking, right, is something tend to be different or develop in different directions or manner, thinking differently. Right. Uh, And convergent thinking refers to intellectual ability, whereas divergent thinking refers to the method adapted by individuals to attain their goals and objectives. And the fifth category of definitions of creativity is creativity as the capacity to solve problems. According to Kilpatrick, he says creativity as a problem-solving method. And according to him, it is the best method to solve the problems of daily, daily, daily life, day-to-day life. That's what we usually use this creativity, or the utilization of creativity is to solve problems we face in our day-to-day life. Thinking in a different manner, we find solutions for different types of problems we face. And creative people are the pioneers of this type of thinking. Nature of creativity. So creativity uh, can possess these characteristics. Right now, I said earlier, so this session is completely on giving kind of an introduction to creativity. So the term creativity that might have these characteristics. Let's see. Creativity is universal, right? It's spread all over the world, right? Maybe creativity is universal and not confined to any individual groups, caste, age, location, or culture, right? Creativity um, is an element that makes all human beings equal, right? It cannot be confined to any individual group, any nation, nationality, right? Caste, age, location, or culture, right? Any human being can have creativity in him. So we call it, it is creativity is a universal thing, right? All over the world, any human being, anyone who belongs to any religion or nationality, or living in any uh, region of the world, any age group, they might be creative. Every person is capable of demonstrating creativity to some degree. Every person born into this world who has this, who is a normal one without having any mental retardation. So every person is capable of demonstrating creativity to a certain degree. You can't say what level it is. To a certain degree, all are creative. Creativity is innate as well as acquired. Innate, inborn, right? Some people are uh, creative from the birth itself, right? So, creativity can be innate as well as acquired. And we can make people creative through careful selection of academic uh, exposure. Right now, in different countries, they recognize the students' creative abilities or these things at very early ages, especially China and countries like that. From when the child is just about 3, 4, 5 years of age, they identify their different skills, competencies, abilities. Creativity also is an ability they recognize from very early childhood, and they give the child necessary education to develop those creative abilities. Creativity can be in many different areas or uh, regions, maybe artistic. In coming slides, we'll be talking about them. Maybe scientifically creative, maybe artistically creative, environmentally, whatever. Creativity can have different uh, subject areas. So whatever way, when that can be innate as well as acquired. Maybe an inborn talent, maybe academically developed talent. So it is natural, it is a natural endowment and also influenced by the cultural background experiences, nurturing like that, right? Uh, as an example, now a child, let's say a child, baby who was born in a Hindu family, they usually, in their culture also, the dancing, let's say, Bharata dancing, right? According to their cultural background, according to their experiences, right? Most of the time, it can be developed. Maybe that talent to dance is inborn, maybe according to the culture, child can be taught well to be a very good dancer. Then another characteristic of creativity, so the cultural background experiences, I think you can understand that situation when the background is there and with the experiences and with the support from the cultural aspects, one can develop the creativity in to a certain level. Then the third nature, creativity implies the ability of a person to produce something new. So from the beginning, we were talking about this by thinking in a different manner. The ability to think, produce something new is creativity. It should not be repetition or reproduction of what the individual has been experienced, right? Now, uh, this in our school system also, we have this innovation clubs, right? In such some exhibitions, even we or the scientists also are amazed to see how innovative ideas children have developed and how they have created new equipment to overcome certain problems. Like very simply, when we say things that can be utilized in household to make easy the household chores, right? So that creativity is the ability to produce something new, but it should not be a repetition of something that already exists, right? So that is another nature of creativity. And then another aspect or characteristic of creativity is that it encourages complete freedom to express a multiple response and action. It is a kind of adventurous thinking, right? So different responses, right? Now, when you face a problem, right? Uh, Normally, people who are not creative or who are reluctant to think differently, they just accept what is happening and uh, they face, they take whatever happens, the result of some things that is happening as the natural way of things, right? But creative people, they have kind of a curiosity they are reluctant to accept what is happening as it is. They question things, right? They try to find different types of answers for the questions or the problems they are having. That's how they have created, I mean, now let's say from the very early history, uh, let's say at the beginning of farming period of human history, they did not have these memory or things that are used to uh, dig the soil or land to cultivate. So they might have used stone with sharp ends from the at the as the first uh, equipment, right? Then gradually they have developed that into the memory that is that we see today, and even uh, new, I mean, the modern way of uh, these tractors and other machinery that is being used in agriculture. It's a gradual development throughout the human history, but the beginning was something as simple as a sharp stone, right? So now that we can see how the development has happened and how advanced these new machinery have become. So all these things have happened because of people who have thought about things in a different manner, right? To find new solutions to questions or problems they were facing during their in their farming activities. So it's a nature of creativity. And creativity and divergent thinking. Divergent thinking means thinking in a, tending to be different or develop in different directions, right? Thinking in a different manner, in simple terms, if we say. Creativity and divergent thinking, thinking in different way. According to Guilford, creative thinking means divergent thinking and uncreative thinking means convergent thinking, right? That is, convergent thinking is thinking in the general way, as others have thought for generations, and normal people will be thinking for general for uh, decades to come. But divergent thinking people who think differently are the people we can call as creative people, right? So, as an example, teacher is teaching about forests, right? So the teacher can ask students about the various benefits we derive from the forest. So divergent thinking, uh, right? Students will think of number of benefits, right? So that's a very general question you can ask. What are the benefits we derive from forests? Children might give very conventional answers like timber, firewood, oxygen from trees, and shelter, right? Beauty for environment. And someone who thinks differently might say uh, something very adventurous about the benefits of forests, right? So this chart shows the difference between divergent thinking and convergent thinking, right? So stimulation, sensation, perception, numeration, and thinking. That is the process of creativity, right? You find the simulation, right? Something that is problematic. Let's say now it's raining, and you have to go out. So you have to think about it. So stimulation and then the sensation, right? Now it's raining. So if you go out, you will get wet. And perception. Then comes enumeration and thinking. So in convergent way, when you think about it, that is, you need intelligence usually to perceive things and to understand things and accepting everything in the same manner. Intelligence is enough for that. But when you think about it in a divergent manner, creativity comes. When you think about the situation in a different manner, creativity comes. Elaboration, fluency, flexibility, and originality of thinking. So Very sorry for the disturbance. So, creativity and intelligence. J.P. Guilford, he says, he differentiates between intellectual operations of divergent thinking, that is, creative process, thinking in different manner, and convergent thinking, which represents intelligence. According to him, every intelligent person may not be creative, right? We can't expect all intelligent people. We have seen lot of intelligent people even nowadays, right? Now in our society also, we see very intelligent people, those who have achieved very high uh, levels in their academic career, right? Highly qualified people. They are very intelligent. They can uh, look at things in intelligent manner, but a very high percentage of creative people possess a great degree of intelligence, right? Every intelligent person may not be creative, right? There are in our society also, we can see a lot of intelligent people, those who are not creative at all, right? They just can maintain the existing uh, way of things, right? Cannot make any changes or any innovation in the process. They just keep on going. May not be creative, but a very high percentage of creative people possess a great degree of intelligence. And once in a machine, in an industrial factory where soap was uh, a soap factory. They manufacture soap, and there's a long that belt uh, that is uh, worked by set of machines where soap is made, and then the soap is put into that box and being sealed and put in and stored in different cardboard boxes. Now, what happened is, uh, let's say, 1 out of 100, right? Soap boxes, uh, a soap of a box that is an empty box was parceled or packed uh, in the cardboard, that big carton. One of them, 1 out of 100, was empty. That was a fault in the process, maybe machinery or something. So the managers of the factory, they tried different uh, methods. They paid high prices to engineers and other professionals to solve this problem, but no one succeeded. This thing continued to happen. And one of the very minor workers in the factory, he went to his manager and said that I can solve this problem. So then they were hopeless. The manager and the other officials, they were hopeless, and they gave the permission uh, for this minor my servant to try his method. So what he did was, what he asked for was a standing fan, and he kept the standing fan mm, at the end of that belt where boxes were packed into that big cardboard carton. And what happened was, when he switched on the fan, the empty box, right, empty soap box it blew away with the wind. A very simple solution for this big problem, right? Even engineers and other very intelligent professionals could not think about this, right? So, very simple solution. So, that person is very creative, although he is not very well educated. But we cannot say, although he has not acquired a lot of certificates, degrees, academic qualifications, we can't say that he's not creative or not intelligent, right? So, uh, very high percentage of creative people, they possess a great degree of intelligence, right? So, creativity and intelligence, they go hand in hand usually. So, a large number of correlational studies undertaken indicated that intelligence and creativity go hand in hand up to a certain limit and get separated after that limit, right? Uh, so, in coming lessons, we'll be talking about this situation in detail. Therefore, I'm not going into deep in it. So, however, it is wrong to suppose that intelligence and creativity are two independent variables or that one always develops at the cost of other. They are, right? Not in, I mean, intelligent people, all intelligent people, we can't expect them to be creative. But creative people, most of the time, are intelligent, right? There's a correlationship between them. So they go hand in hand. The findings suggest that while intelligence and creativity are positively correlated, the relation between the two is not entirely linear, right? Intelligent people are creative, creative people are intelligent, but all intelligent people cannot be expected to be creative, right? So there's a correlation, but they do not depend on each other, right? Creativity to different profession is different, right? So creativity has many dimensions. So for according to these dimensions, the professions or the vocations that people use creativity can be different. Right? To the artist, creativity is the ability to evoke an emotional mood. Right? The artist may be a painter, maybe a dancer, maybe a singer or an actor, right? Whatever art he is representing, his creativity is the ability to evoke an emotional mood, right? When we hear a nice song, right, that can make us emotional. Emotional means that we can uh, very well taste that song or the film or the book we read or the dance we see, right? So that ability to evoke an emotional mood in the uh, person watching or reading or listening, right? So it is the ability to evoke an emotional mood. So if the artist, the painter or the dancer or singer, whoever it is, if they can make us emotional, or they can make our mood to fix or to go with him, right? That means that he is very creative, right? If the song is that beautiful, to make us feel what the singer is trying to make us feel. So we say that he's very creative, right? Music, words, the way of singing, everything is in accordance with the creative, right? Right. So that is for artist. To the architect, creativity is the ability to evolve new approaches, forms, and new materials, right? So architect, person, a very creative person, right? Who has special ability to understand the spatial dimensions. As an example, now we use an architect to draw the plan for our house. So that architect must be able to visualize something that is not existing at the moment and create, right? Create that that vision or that what he sees. Now he looks at an empty land, where we want to build up our dream house. The person, the architect on this is the empty land. There he must be able to vision, see or create what we have in our mind. So it's not an easy task, right? So dreaming is one thing, and making that dream come into reality is one thing. It's difficult. So for an architect, creativity is the ability to evolve new approaches, new ways of thinking, right? And to form new materials, new approaches, new forms, new materials, new uh, planning, right? So that is his ability. And to the scientist, creativity is the ability to explore new way of extending knowledge. So, mm, scientists are also very creative. Because of this, their creativity, new things that have made our lives easier have come into existence. Like Thomas Alva Edison inventing the bulb and many other things. Now, the refrigerator, the motor car, right? The other utilities we use to make our household work, household chores easy, and to make our lives comfortable. Everything has come into existence because of the different type of thinking of scientists, most probably, right? So explore new way of extending knowledge. They have the basic knowledge, and from that basic knowledge, on that basic knowledge, they build up new thinking, new ways. And to the teacher, creativity is the ability to discover and apply dynamic methods of teaching learning. So teacher is also a very creative person, right? Teacher should have lot of creativity in him. And he has the ability to discover and apply dynamic methods of teaching learning. We have seen such creative teachers in our school system, right? They outstand from their performance among the other teachers, right? So the same, now if we take primary teachers, all have the same training, same type of the textbooks are used, same environment in the classroom with the students of the same age, but some teachers, they outstand from their performance from the other teachers. That happens because of their different approaches to the teaching learning process. They use different visual aids, they use different methods, songs, dances, maybe, right? So that approach makes them more creative. And to the student, students also need to be creative. Otherwise, uh, learning just happens. If you have watched the film Three Idiots, right? So that Hindi film, famous one, Three Idiots, that's a big good example for how one can be creative, right? While in being intelligent, you know, intelligence and creativity goes hand in hand. In that film, you can see a lot of incidents that can be taken as example for that statement. One person is very studious, academically very mm, enthusiastic in learning, but creativity, innovation is different. That ability is different from mere ability to learning, right? So, to the student, creativity is the ability to use words and phrases in new situations, right? So they learn words and phrases. Almost all the students, they learn the same syllabus, same thing, everything. But some students use that knowledge in a different manner, which makes them uh, different from the others, more creative, right? To solve sums speedily, to prepare new types of charts and projects, to write essays and stories depicting new ideas, and so on. Right? So, students, they have the same knowledge, same uh, textbooks, and the same teacher who's teaching, but some students are different from the others. So, that difference can come, the reason for that difference can be the different level of creativity they have in them. So, different professions, how they are used. Mm. Characteristics of creative personality. How we can identify, or what are the different uh, traits of creative personality. They are very adventurous, right? Definitely, creative people are adventurous because they must have a brave heart or the ability to take risks, right? To think differently, to go on the path that is already cleared up, right? Where you cannot see any danger is easy, right? Most of the people prefer to take that path, take that road. But creative people, right, they are brave enough to use different paths that are not well cleared, or when we can't say exactly, there are no dangers in front of us in the path. So that's why we call them adventurous, right? So, uh, uh, definitely, to be creative is to be able to accept risk, right? Sometimes something might happen. Most of the time, things might happen in good for the betterment of things, but sometimes things might go wrong and everything a disaster. Therefore, you know, this, if you have read the stories of the that creator of this Apple company, uh, right? He has, in his life story, he has described how what type of difficult path he had to go through to be that to achieve that success in the end. Even Microsoft leader, right? Almost all of them, right? Those who have invented new things, Elon Musk, even their path was not smooth, right? Adventurous behavior, adventurous mindset, the ability to take risks made them come to that, uh, achieve that. I have missed some. Okay, I'll come back to that. To achieve that greatness in lives, right? So, another characteristic of creative personality is that they are curious by nature. They are not ready to accept things as they are. They are curious. They want to explore things, right? To question things, to identify how it happens, to go into depths and find more information about how things happen. So curious by nature, right? The This is the thing, that curiosity is the element that we have to identify even in our students from the very early childhood, right? If we can nurture this curiosity with suitable uh, ideas, interventions, definitely that child will grow up to be a creative person. So they are curious by nature. They need to ask a lot of questions to verify problems that come into their mind about things. That's how creativity comes. And desirous to excel. They do not stop until they find uh, victory or excellence in what they are involved in, right? Desires to excel. So the two examples I gave, the Apple company and Microsoft, they are very well living examples for this characteristic of creative personality, right? Until they want, until they achieve the uh, expected outcome, they do not stop usually. And they are flexible in their thinking, feeling, and doing, not rigid at all. Rigid people cannot be creative because they see only one thing, only one aspect of things. They can't find different solutions to problems because they look at only, they look through one direction. Therefore, curious people or creative people, they are always flexible in the way they think about things and the way they feel and doing. Right? They are ready to change. When they find things are not going on the correct path, they without hesitation, without thinking twice, they are ready to change their methodology, right? Until they find the solution or the victory, they change. The methodology maybe the approach, maybe the way they think about it, maybe the materials they use, whatever. Flexibility is there in their thinking, feeling, and doing. And intuitive. That is the ability or that you call that gut feeling, right? Uh, you don't have evidence to exactly say or to prove that this is the reason why I am doing it, but that intuition is there, that gut feeling, that ability kind of it's not existing, but you are guided by some inner feeling towards the uh, success and keen to explore and invent, right? Uh, they are very keen on exploring new things, on researching on new things, right? And to invent new things on the basis of their explorations, right? So, uh, and they are not actually fed up of things. You know, Microsoft, the Apple leader, he has failed many times. Most of his young age was spent on uh, building up on the failure, right? Finally, when he uh, achieved success, he was almost 45 or 50 years old. Until then, in his life story, in most of these successful people's life stories, if you read them, there are certain periods of life that they have not been able to even find the day-to-day living expenditure, right? But somehow, because of this ability to, to stick on something steadily, they have found success at the end. So keen to explore and invent new things. Go on in that thing always. And then nonconformist, right? Not very rigid on anything that happens, right? And then very well self-disciplined. Do not get frustrated about the things that is happening. They always look at the positive side of things, right? When they have put down, right? When they are at the bottom level of everything, they are put into that bottom level again and again, several times. Even then, they have the ability to start working again. That self-discipline is there to stick to something, some idea, some aim, objective, goal of life, right? So that self-discipline, non-conformist type of, and the self-discipline is there. And they are visionary, always very visionary, right? So they work towards achieving a vision. That's the courage. That's how they gain the courage to face failures. They have a big objective, or aim, or a goal to achieve in the life, right? A goal to fulfill in life. So vision, right? I will somehow achieve this vision. That is their strength. Then willing to take risk. That is another characteristic of creative personality. They are willing to take risk. That goes hand in hand with that adventurous nature of those people, right? Without taking risks. Those who are reluctant to take risks, they do not, uh, they do not like to leave their comfort zones in their lives, right? They are satisfied with what is happening or how whatever they gain, and they live on their lives. But creative people are not like that. They have a vision, they are curious, they want to solve certain problems, and they are willing to take risks. Sometimes, when you read the life stories, you must have seen, sometimes they have lost their family lives also because of this curiosity or this creative personality. But somehow they have achieved their target in lives, right? So willing to take risk. And creative children are constantly probing, discovering, imagining, fantasizing, asking questions, guessing, and wondering. That is the type of creative children, right? So, in our classrooms, we have seen such children, those who are very, very imaginative, and they fantasize things, right? Sometimes, most of the time, not sometimes, these type of children are uh, discouraged, not only by teachers but by parents also, because they are different from the others. The way they think, the way they talk, behave, right? Everything is different. So teachers and parents, if they are not well aware about this situation, they might think that child is, I mean, not normal even, right? But that's not the way. Maybe there can be a problem, but naturally, the creative children are like that. They are very normal, very healthy, but the way they look at things, their curiosity, their imaginative powers, their way of fantasizing things, and the way they ask questions and guessing and wondering, that is the creative child we have to recognize. So, therefore, they should be encouraged to ask unusual questions, right? They must be encouraged. When they ask unusual questions, we never should silence them. We must find suitable answers for them, right? This type of children, if they get a good parent or a teacher, that's the luckiest thing that can happen to them in their lives, right? To explore new ways of thinking, right? Different manner of thinking, to try novel approaches to problem solving, right? Different types of approaches, new ways of approaches, and to play with ideas and materials and use divergent ways of dealing with traditional topics. The traditional, the conventional way of thinking must be, uh, in creative children, that conventional way of thinking is questioned by them, right? That's how creativity uh, takes place, comes into existence. Therefore, in our next topic, we have to discuss about the role of school and teachers in promoting creativity in children. Therefore, uh, that's our next topic. But somehow we have missed one slide. Therefore, I will. Somehow we have missed a lot, it seems. We finally discussed uh, creativity and intelligence, I think. After that, I think I got that call and then I missed this part. I'm very sorry. I'll come back to that. Creativity and intelligence. Uh, we discussed. Creativity and age. Another important topic that should be discussed. So, according to Lehman, although some outstanding creative accomplishments appear at advanced ages, superior creativity generally rises rapidly to its highest or peak points in the 30s and declines slowly afterwards. Right? Creativity starts from the moment they were born, the child was born, and gradually it develops if they find nourishment from the environment, from the, if they get the parental and academic support from everyone, that creativity gradually increases. And superior creativity generally rises rapidly to its highest or peak points in the 30s. Right? Even Lord Buddha or Jesus or these outstanding religious figures, they also have attained their superiority during their 30s usually, right? So it's a very important age limit. Creativity comes into their maximum level during the 30s of a human life and declines slowly afterwards, right? So that's the relationship between creativity and age. And Lehman also pointed out that apart from age, there are numerous social, emotional, and physical factors that retard creativity, right? So, for a normal person, as I mentioned earlier also, if the creativity is supported by parents or from his environment, that will grow up to be to a maximum level. So, those some of the factors that affect creativity, apart from age, are social, emotional, and physical factors. Social, right? If he belongs to a healthy, supportive family with, suitable economic conditions and high other social uh, support from the family, if he has it, and the emotional abilities, emotional aspects of his, right? If he has the good emotional balance in him, and the physical factors like good health uh, and good nutrition, if he has all these things, well, then uh, that will help, that will affect the creativity of a person. So, creativity and mental abilities, right? Ability to produce large ideas, that is fluency of that person. You have the fluency in, let's say, language, creativity in language, like writing novels or writing songs, right? So, if you, that is the fluency, the ability to produce large ideas, that is essential. A mental ability that is essential to be creative. Then flexibility, the ability to produce a variety of ideas or approaches, right? When to adjust to the situation, the ability to adjust to the situation when things are not going in the way that we expected, we must be able to adjust to the situation and produce different ideas or approaches to the to fulfill our aim or achieve our objective. That's what we call flexibility. That ability to change. That's also a mental ability. Then originality. The ability to produce uncommon responses, right? Original ideas. Something that has not existed before. Not a repetition or a repetition of what has already been used or done, or uh, it shouldn't be a repeat of something. Originality must be there. The ability to produce uncommon responses. Right? Then redefinition. The ability to define or perceive in a way that is different from the usual. That is the ability to look at things in a different perspective. Redefinition. To give the definition is something that is already existing. When you redefine something, you look at the same thing in a different angle, right? In a different perspective. That ability must be there for creativity. And then another one is sensitivity to problems, the ability to evaluate implications, right? So usually we need creativity to find solutions to problems. So for that we must be able to identify something as a problem. Right? If we look at it as a general thing, or that something that cannot be changed, then right, no creativity comes in. Right? As an example, let's say the people who have built roads up onto the mountains, like let's say Nurelia, let's say, right? If people, all of them thought these mountains they are unclimbable. No one can uh, make a road system to climb up to these mountains, right? If everyone thought about that in that manner, right? If they had accepted the truth that it is not possible to climb the mountains or to make roads to climb, to take vehicles up to that mountains, then it should the things have remained in the same manner forever, right? People will be walking on footpaths, right? Everything will, might have gone in the same manner forever. But there were some people who thought about this as a problem, right? So sensitivity to problems, to identify the problems without accepting everything as it is. So that ability also must be there for a person to be creative. So creativity and some mental abilities, fluency, flexibility, originality, redefinition, and sensitivity to problems. Creative process. Creative process is any process which produces something new, right? Anything. Maybe materialistic thing, maybe artistic thing, like a drama or a song or a book, right? Maybe something material, like a vehicle, new type of a vehicle or a utility that can be used in factories, or at household, right? Or maybe something, a new production in medical field, right? Make to be able to see the inside of a body, let's say, like that. Creativity, creative process is any process which produces something new. An object or an idea, including a new form or arrangement of old elements, right? An object or an idea, including a new form or arrangement of old elements. Maybe old elements, but their arrangement can be done in a different manner to produce something new. The new creation must contribute to the solution of some problem, right? Again and again, we come to that point. Creativity is used to find solutions to problems, right? So the process of creativity is similar to the steps in scientific method. Scientific method, there we follow a very systematic order, right? To observe something and to experiment on something, and from the uh, answers we get for the experiment to come into conclusions about some phenomena that happens, right? That's the scientific method. In the same way, process of creativity also uh, follows the same method. The central element of both is the production of something new. So scientific method and creative method, both, right? The final, the outcome of the process is to produce something new. Nature and characteristics of creativity and intelligence. Another topic. Nature and characteristics of creativity and intelligence. Creativity is the result of some interaction. Always the result of an uh, interaction, right? The a different way of thinking of a person, maybe, right? Different procedure, different method we use, right? Somehow, kind of a different interaction, result of some interaction. And creativity is the ability to synthesize ideas or objects, right? Uh, to create different ideas, to think in different manners, or uh, invent new objects is the ability. That ability is the creativity. Creativity is the ability to create new ideas, theories, or objects, right? Another characteristic. Creativity is the ability to develop uh, develop something original that has not existed before, right? Something original. Creativity has several dimensions, different uh, directions or paths, right? So creativity is a complex, dynamic, and serious process. It's a complex process, definitely, not a simple one. right? To change something that is existing, creativity is used. Therefore, definitely, it's a complex, dynamic, and a serious process in every manner, right? Creativity knows no special medium, place, person, or time. Creativity can come at any place by any person or at any time. Like the example I gave on that soap factory, right? So, very simple solutions maybe, but to find or identify that solution, you have to think differently. And so that means exactly, like, we feel usually that only very well educated, highly qualified, academically highly qualified people only can be creative, but it's not like that. So it has no special medium, place, or person or time. So creativity is a knows no, sorry, is the capacity to accept challenges. So far, we have been talking about that. So, accepting challenges to go in different paths, that definitely means that you have to accept different challenges in that path. So, creativity is the freedom to exercise choice, right? To go on to remain in the comfort zone and look at things in the general manner, or to take risks, be adventurous, and invent new things. So it's a exercise of choice. And creativity is the readiness to change self and environment, right? To go out from the comfort zone and change, right? So that change might be very uh, dimensional in different manners. Maybe your whole life, right, might change. So readiness to change self and environment. So creativity. I think we discussed about creativity to different professions and the characteristics of creative personality. And so finally, we got the idea that creative children are very different from the others, and they should be encouraged to ask unusual questions and to explore new ways of thinking and to try new approaches to problem solving and to play with ideas, new ideas, and materials in different ways. So now we have we got some idea what creativity is and what are the characteristics of creative people, and how creativity can be encouraged in a child. Now only we are coming to the real topic, the educational, the part that is uh, combined with or in relationship with educational psychology, that is uh, the way, the role of teachers uh, that have to be played uh, to make our student generation creative. Now only we get the connection between psychology, educational psychology, and the term creativity, right? So, because to make a person creative, right? to build up a creative person to the society, education has a very big responsibility or very big part to play in that person's life, right? If we handle the child carefully with understanding, only we can make him uh, grow, build up him, build him up to be a creative person. Otherwise, teachers can be the object to, uh, let's say, finish that creative ability of that child, right? So, first, before going to that role, the teachers and the school can play in promoting creativity in children, we'll see qualities of creative teachers, right? How one can be a creative teacher, a teacher who is different from the generation of other teachers, right? Definitely, they are knowledgeable. They have the content knowledge, sound content knowledge about the subject they are responsible of. Maybe English language, maybe Sinhala or Tamil, maybe science, maths, social sciences, health, right? Geography, whatever the subject they are teaching, they must be thorough with the content knowledge of that particular subject. Must have a sound knowledge uh, and be updated with that knowledge also, right? There are some teachers, those who believe once we got the appointment as teachers, uh, now everything is finished. They don't think that it is necessary to update the knowledge, especially language teachers, right? They remain forever until the time they get their retirement with the same knowledge, content knowledge, uh, which they had attained by the time they got the appointment, right? So, knowledgeable, definitely, that's a very big and essential quality of uh, creative teachers. Then they are confident, and they know very well what they are doing, right? Not only for the sake of teaching, right? They do this profession or they teach with the confidence to, that they are trying to make the child to show a different path or to lead him to a different world, right? So confidence must be there of what he is doing, right? Whether it is right or how to change according to the situations and everything, that confidence is there to accept the challenges, to face the, right, the blames even, because being a creative teacher, it's not easy. You'll have to face problems because you are deviating from the general situation, and you must take a lot of risks. You know that Sinhala film, the Hogana Pokuna, that teacher, right? She's very confident about what she's doing. Maybe a film only, but still, that gives us a lot of understanding or ideas about um, these creative teachers. And the Hindi film Tare Samin Par, where there's a teacher who deals with a child with dyslexia, and finally he helps the child to overcome his problem of identifying letters, right? So dyslexia is a learning problem for the child, but the other teachers, even the parents, they could not recognize that problem. The teacher only could do that, and he supported the child. So he was knowledgeable and confident, right, in a different manner. So committed to helping their students succeed. So creative teachers, they are willing to take risks, right? They don't, I mean, they are not reluctant, right? They cannot be, mm, you know, they are committed always to help their students to succeed, to find success in lives. Like the teacher in that film Tare Zameen Par, lot of problems come in his way, but still he sticks to the uh, idea that he's helping the child, right? So committed to helping them, and uses wide range of strategies and methodology. So they do not uh, follow just the methods that have been taught to him and that has been followed, executed by generation of other teachers. He's willing to uh, use different strategies and methodology until he finds success in his teaching learning process, right? And he's knowledgeable and he is updated and he seeks for new strategies uh, from whatever methodology he has, technology he has, and they use them in the classroom. They are not reluctant, they are not lazy, right? They are not, just doing the profession for the sake of doing it. And they are risk takers. Definitely very risky. You know, a teacher has to deal with a big uh, community, right? The administrators of the school, the principals and other administrators, and the higher officers, and then the colleague, the fellow teachers in the staff, the whole generation of students and their parents, and the well-wishers, and the old boys, and all pupil associations, the neighborhood of the school. So it's a huge community he has to deal with. So when a teacher is doing something different, everybody likes to criticize him, right? They look at him, they watch him very closely. All the movements are being watched. So uh, they have to have that confidence to take the risk of all this attention when they do something uh, not general, right? Something creative. So they are risk takers. And personalize lesson content. Usually these type of teachers, they personalize their teaching learning process according to the needs of the students, different styles, needs, interests of the students. So all the children are uh, taken into consideration when they plan the lesson. Different levels of academic levels of children, and then their interests, their learning styles, they are different from each other. So they try to personalize the uh, lesson content, and then creates student-centered learning environment. Right, in your other subjects, you must have learned about the student-centered and teacher-centered learning environments. So these type of creative teachers, they encourage student-centered learning environment where the student is put in the prominent place, not the teacher. Student is the major role in that learning environment, and he is given the confidence to decide some areas in his learning. And they are reflective. Reflective, you know, that we look back at what we have done and learn from what we have done. From the plus points, we learn to uh, continue the same method, and from the minus points or the mistakes we have done in the lesson, we learn how to remedy that mistake and not to make it again and again. So there are different methods, you know, in methodology you must have learned. Writing reflective journals, and even in lesson plans we put the reflective points, you know, from lesson to lesson we write the reflection of that particular lesson, right? How I did the lesson and how I have been successful, but in what areas I have been successful and in what areas I have to improve, like that. That reflection is always there in a creative teacher's journey, and they accept challenges. As I said earlier, he has to deal with a big community, and they are of different educational levels and social levels, right? So dealing with them is not at all easy when you do something new in the school. But creative teachers, they are ready to accept those challenges and uh, find solutions to problems that come. So those are some of the qualities of creative teachers. So now it's almost 9:30. So we can't move to the next one. So in the next lesson, we'll be discussing about how teachers and the education system, teachers and teaching learning process and administrators and all the others, how we can support or promote creativity in children. That will be the topic of the next lesson. So mainly in today's lesson, we gave an introduction to what creativity is. Therefore, read more on creativity, definitions on creativity, and we discussed about the nature of creativity, different characteristics of creative people. So read more on them and get a better understanding. So let's wind up the session for today. I think very few participated. Give the message, give the content to the others also. And then thank you very much. Let's wind up the session for today. And good night to you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
Good night,
madam. Good
madam.
night.
Thank you, madam.